Kingdom people, they are depressed because they don't know what you are up to. They are depressed because they don't know your business. They are depressed. Kingdom people, when God originally gave me this message, He was just speaking to me about how people are frustrated because they can't figure you out. They don't know your business. They don't know what you're doing. And, before I got ready to record this message, when He gave it to me again, He said they are depressed because they don't know your business. They can't figure out what you up to. They don't know your stuff. And when He said that to me, I just stalled because I was like, depressed. It tripped me out. I just stood there for a minute like, oh my goodness, that's deep. Frustrated I get, even though to want to know somebody's business that bad that you get frustrated, it's weird to say the least. But to be depressed, I was like, oh my God. So I had to sit with him for a minute to, let him run some stuff down to me, because depressed, that's on a whole nother level. Just, what are you doing depressed because you don't know somebody's business? So here's the thing. This is the way the Holy Spirit gave it to me. See, kingdom people been trying to figure you out. People been trying to even keep up with you. That's a whole nother message. People are trying to keep up with you based on what they think they know about you, just from what they see. Because what's happening, kingdom people don't know the details of your life, especially those who don't know you like that, those who don't talk to you like that. You don't talk to them. In other words, you're not friends with them. You're not in any kind of relationship with them where you will be communicating with them and maybe sharing some things, at least where they know what you do. They know, some things about you, your daily activities, not necessarily daily, but you know how you talk to people and you chit chat. I was talking to my daughter today, and, in talking, I said to her, I asked her a question, and I said, I don't know why I just asked you that, because I already knew the answer to that. I said, I guess that's just small chat. No, I said small talk. Small talk. And then I said, well, or is it medium talk? Or is it big talk? And I said, small, medium, or big? She said medium. I said, okay, it's medium talk. Just a little funny story. But for real, kingdom people, you don't be having small talk with these people. Say they don't know nothing, but they want to know. They try to figure it out. These are the same people who go through extremes trying to get your attention. They may even do things to try to befriend you or engage you in an effort to get you to kind of like drop your guard so they can befriend you, if we're going to call it befriending you, so they can engage you. They want to know your business. That's the whole point, to know your business. Maybe you will spill some beans, maybe in small talk or medium talk, you will share. And so, of course, these kind of people don't want to know your business. They want to know your business, not for good reasons. They don't want to know it for good reasons. These are the people who are jealous. They're envious of you. I just heard they're bitter. These people are bitter and resentful about things that don't have anything to do with you. However, when they come across you, they become bitter and resentful at what they see with you. Although they don't know much about you, just what they see causes them to be envious and jealous and bitter and resentful, because they see something in you, again, as I always say, I didn't say it here, but I've said it before on this channel, that they don't like about themselves. or that they lack in themselves. They see something about you. Man, I'm hearing that again. I said it right, that they don't like about themselves. In other words, whatever you have, they lack in what they lack in, or whatever you are that they are the opposite of in you, they don't like that about themselves. For example, you are of the light, they are of darkness. They don't like the darkness that they are. Although these are the kind of people that tend to hang out in darkness. They don't want to do nothing to change their darkness. They don't like the darkness that they're in. And a lot of that has to do with, see, when you're in darkness, there's no joy. There's no peace when you're in that kind of darkness. And what I mean by that kind of darkness, sometimes we may be in our sin. Some of us have been in our sin, which is a form of darkness. However, we may have been upbeat kind of people. We may have still been people who had some sense of a self-esteem about ourselves. But overall, what it really is, kind of people, the hand of God was always on you. And to some extent, you always walked with God. Even if you didn't really realize it, that light was always in you, even if it was turned on just a little bit. So the difference with these people, unfortunately, is they don't have that. They never had that. They know nothing about it. And that's no shade to them, because those are the very people who God wants to use you, who he will use you to bring into the light, to bring out of darkness. The issue with these kind of people, though, is they too busy tripping on you. They too busy doing all the wrong things where you're concerned. So they leave no room for you to bring help or minister to them or whatever, have any kind of interaction with them in an effort to bring them out of darkness. Not that that would be your goal, but because God uses you in that way, that would be God's goal with you. And so it doesn't mean that it still can't happen. It just wouldn't happen from you personally engaging with them. And so these people are in a form of darkness where they have no peace, they have no joy. They run off of the world system. They may have been talked out of doing anything to change, doing anything to improve, doing anything to level up, especially spiritually, because some of these people do have jobs and they have material possessions, but again, they don't have something that you do, which is that light, which is the presence of God. And so that's why they envy you. That's why they're jealous of you, because they recognize you possess something that they lack in. And they also recognize your peace, your joy, your happiness, your drive, your authenticity. And a lot of these people, they're fake. These people front. They don't know how to just be themselves. They recognize that you're very comfortable in your skin with who you are. And for many of us, we like to be alone a lot. They recognize that a lot of these people don't understand how you do that, kind of people, because they don't know how to do that. And so the thing is, this kind of people, it's understandable. This world that we live in that, kind of groomed us, so to speak. And I say us because all of us have been subjected to it. The way we respond to it and deal with it is different because of what's in us, what we have, the fact that we have had God, the fact that whatever our circumstances and our situations were or are, and how we handle them, how we choose to grow through them, how we choose to overcome. And so everybody is not like that. And so again, the idea is to help people to come on over to the other side. Yet these people, when they want to know what you have going on, it's not to better themselves. Many a times it's to try to compete with you, to try to outdo you, just to try to even get up in your business, to try to sabotage. But sometimes kind of people, they just nosy. Sometimes people just want to know. And the very fact that it's depressing them that they don't know your business is very concerning. And here's the thing. What God gave me when he was talking to me about this is that, let's just say by chance that they happen to know something, they get some information on you, what you do. And when I say what you do, I'm speaking of what you maybe do for work. If certain ones don't know, what kind of a business do you, or whatever you do, because they don't know. That's the whole point. All they know is that you move about, go about, you about your business. That's all they know. And for some of you all maybe chilling, but you still do what you do when you do what you do. And they trying to figure out, well, what do you do? What do you be doing? And here's the thing. If they, should I say, were to find out, get any of that information, God said to me, it would make them more depressed. Because for some of you, the kind of things that you are on, and I'm going to say spiritually, the kind of things that you are into, maybe the kind of work you do, some of you have businesses, some of you, your mind is just focused on things above. You may be working towards something. Even that in itself would be depressing for these people because their minds don't think like that. They don't have elevated minds. They don't have renewed minds. They don't have the mind of Christ. They can't think at that level. Now, what they have done is, let me go get this, let me go get that to make myself feel like I'm something and to show it off to be validated so people can think I'm something. But the problem with that is that that's not working for them. And they can tell that that's not what you do. So again, although they want to know your business, want to know what your deal is, if they were to know anything, it would make them depressed because their mind can't even encompass your level of thinking, understanding, your level of drive. And your reasoning for doing what you do. And that is that, first of all, it's not for validation, for approval. The reason why you do what you do at this point in your life is because God is driving you to do it. God has called you to it. God has purposed you for it. And so these people are depressed because they don't know your business. But the truth is, if they were to know, they will be more depressed. That's how God gave it to me. They think they want to know, and they depressed because they don't know. It's depressing them. And also, the reason why it's depressing them like that, that they don't know your business, is because, it's an insatiable desire to know. And what happens when you have an insatiable desire? First of all, it can never be satisfied, even if it's getting so-called fulfilled. So let's just use lust as an example. If you have an insatiable desire for men and women, for women, men, and you're engaging in that, you're indulging in that, you can never get enough of it because of your insatiable desire. You can't fulfill it. It's just always there. Now think about it like this. That desire, that's insatiable desire that can't be fulfilled, is there, which is part of why, even if they were to get your business, know some of your business, know what it is they're trying to know or find out, it wouldn't even fulfill them. It would make them more depressed. But here's the kicker. Them not knowing means that they can't even feed that insatiable desire, and it makes them depressed. I just heard more depressed because they can't even feed that desire. And so, kingdom people, let me say it to you like this. If you find that people kick it up a notch to try to get your attention, to try to engage you, to try until they get knocked down, of course, because that eventually happens. Or get knocked down a few times till they get knocked down to where they can't get back up. Something happened where they just out for the count. But the thing is this, kingdom people, if they're bumping it up a notch and they just won't seem to let it go when it's clear that you're not feeding into whatever it is they do to try to engage you so that the end result would be them getting the information they're trying to get from you about you, what happens, kingdom people, is they go into a depression. They might kick it up a notch and come back for another round, try it again. After they do it, they go back into a depression. So what God gave me is the more they do that, still want to know, instead of letting it go. Ooh, I got bars. When they still want to know, but really God got bars. When they still want to know, and instead they not letting it go. They not letting it go, but they still want to know. It makes them more depressed. And the reason being, kingdom people, is because no one should want to know your business that bad till it makes them depressed that they don't know. I'm reminded of 1 Thessalonians 4:11. Man your own business is what it basically says. I'm paraphrasing. But it says, man your own business. Tend to your own life, to your own work. What's in front of you. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what it says. And so when you're not doing that, there are consequences to that. And from what God gave me is that it's depression. Especially when you're trying to be in somebody's business, but you can't be because you're not getting their business. It ends in depression. And it ends in depression because it's something that you shouldn't be doing. Again, you see it's not working. Let it go. What they really should do is let it go and focus on their own lives. And even if they can learn from you just by watching you, part of what they need to learn from you is to man their business. Because kingdom people, you man yours. But when they're not getting that lesson, it ends in depression. It leads to depression. And so the prayer is they stop wanting to know your business so bad that it's depressing them. But the truth of the matter is, and where we are right now, kingdom people, for those of you who this message applies to, they are depressed because they don't know your business. They don't know.